Sake of a Story, a blog post written and narrated by Robert Fairhead from the Tall and True writer's website. The local dog club, where I volunteered as a trainer for 20 years, ran season-ending fun days with events like fancy dress, agility slalom, Waggliest Tail, and other novelty races that changed from year to year. One of my favourites was the sack race, where my dear old dog and I always placed third. The rules were simple, like a schoolyard sack race, except the human competitor had to hop to the finish line with a dog on a leash beside them. Sounds easy, huh? Well, you try jumping up and down beside your dog and see how excited and in your way they get. Fortunately for me, my old black lab Harry was calm and biddable, as long as there was no food or ball involved. He was a disgrace in the Savoy relay and the balance a frisbee on your head and squeeze a ball between your legs race. Woof, is that my ball, Robert? However, the weak link in the sack race was me. Back then I was in my mid-40s and didn't have the same spring in my hop of younger competitors, and Harry and I kept placing third. But I didn't mind. We both had fun, at least I did, and Harry got treats, which after all is the goal of a fun day. One year, in the run-up to Christmas and the end of the training season, I was in Perth visiting family and friends for a few days, but I'd booked a Saturday return flight to Sydney, so I had to meet up with people during the working week, which was a little tricky. "Why aren't you staying for the weekend?" they'd ask. "Because I've got to get back for my dog club's fun day on Sunday," I'd explain. And in response to their quizzical looks, I'd add, "Harry and I always come third in the sack race, and I don't want to miss out this year." So on Sunday morning, bleary-eyed after the long Saturday night flight from Perth to Sydney, and the 2-hour time difference, I headed down to the dog club with Harry for the fun day. We warmed up with a well-placed second in the Goodo eating race, splitting a pair of Gobblegut's golden retrievers. And then I stepped into the Hessian sack for our signature sack race. We easily won our heat and the semi-final and joined our fellow competitors on the starting line for the final. As with any competitive sport, the mental approach to the sack race is as important as physical prowess. And this year, despite mild jet lag, I felt confident when the starter called, "Go." Midway down the field, it seemed my confidence was well founded. I was hopping strongly, and Harry and I were in the lead by 2 hops. But younger competitors were gaining on us as we neared the finish line, and my legs began buckling. With less than half a dozen hops to go, Harry and I looked like we'd have to settle for second place. And then I remembered the story I told family and friends in Perth, how Harry and I always came third. So I eased up and let another competitor pass us before making a final long hop and lunge to secure third place. Like that distant dog club sack race, I've often made sacrifices in my writing for the sake of a story. In On Writing, a memoir of the craft, Stephen King urges writers, "Kill your darlings, kill your darlings. Even when it breaks your egocentric little scribbler's heart, kill your darlings." As Ruth Ann Reed expounded in a post on King's quote on the Right Practice website, How to Kill Your Darlings and Survive the Process, darlings in writing are those words, phrases, sentences, paragraphs, and even chapters that we are often most proud of. We love them to the point that we almost don't care if those bits are clear to readers or not. The problem is, they can get in the way of the reader's point of view. I keep this in mind when writing, but more so when editing. It has led to heartbreaking sacrifices, but as I've learned, killing my darlings is worth it for the sake of a story, blog post, or article. I knew that coming second in the dog club sack race wouldn't make as good a story as third place. Not winning didn't bother Harry because he still got treats. And we went on to compete in the Savoy relay, where we came last, but he ate all the Savoy sausages. Yes, my dear old Harry disgraced himself again, but it was worth it for the sake of a story. Hi, I'm Robert Fairhead from Tall and True Short Reads and the Tall and True Writers website. I wrote For the Sake of a Story in December 2018, comparing the lengths I'd hop to for third place in the annual sack race at my local dog club and in killing my darlings when writing, both for the sake of a good story. Dear old Harry crossed the Rainbow Bridge in October 2011. He was such a big part of my life for a dozen years that I also wrote a blog post dedicated to him approaching the 7th anniversary of his death in September 2018. My Good Dog and Muse, episode 72 of Tall and True Short Reads. In the post, I recount a favourite quote by Agnes Slide Turnbull. Dogs' lives are too short. Their only fault, really. I also observed how Harry had brought so much joy into my life that it seemed wrong to feel sad about him. But as other dog lovers know, that's not how grief works. And if you can hear heavy breathing or scratching in the background of this episode, it's my current dear old dog, my almost 13-year-old black lab, Jet, who brings joy to my life as dear old Harry did, and likes his treats too. There are links to all these posts on Tall and True in the show notes. For the Sake of a Story includes a lovely photo of Harry and me in the balance a frisbee on your head and squeeze a ball between your legs race, before he notices the ball. Woof! And there's a link to a post with Jet sleeping on his mat in the Home Office podcast studio. I hope you enjoyed this tail-wagging episode. You can read all my posts, selected short stories and other writings on tallandtrue.com. You can also buy my short story and microfiction collections from the Amazon Kindle, Apple Books and Kobo online bookstores. Links are available in the show notes. The next episode of Tall and True Short Reads will be released shortly. In the meantime, search your feed or the podcast website, tallandtrueshortreads.com, for earlier episodes from all 4 seasons. And please follow or subscribe to the podcast and rate and review it via your favourite app. Doing so helps other listeners find my storytelling. You can support the podcast financially by making a small one-off or regular donation via the Acast supporter page. There's a link in the show notes. Finally, please share this episode with family and friends and spread the word about Tall and True Short Reads and the Tall and True Writers website. P.S. I held off releasing this episode until the 1st of September 2024 to mark Jet's 13th birthday. Good dog, Jet.